hit that 6-figure threshold, you couldn't tell me nothing. My art just started to decline, and what am I doing wrong? Hey creatives, so I wanted to get into some things that have helped me become a full-time artist going on 8 years now. First, let's start with my background. Ever since I was little, I was always drawing something. I can remember my favorite cartoon being SpongeBob, and I had asthma growing up, so I couldn't play any sports. So a lot of the times, most of my electives were either dance or art. So I had art all the way up until I graduated. That was just my safe place. I couldn't wait to get to school to create. Because of my upbringing, because I was so shy, because of a strict parent that I had, a lot of the times I was unable to express myself verbally, so I would express myself creatively in my sketchbook, whether it was through writing or through just drawing out my thoughts. That's just what helped me communicate what I was feeling inside. I really gravitated towards Prismacolors. I didn't care for charcoal or pastels. I've worked with it all, but it was something about Prismacolors that made me feel like I was blending it smoothly together and just going with the flow of it. I felt one with it. So that was my preferred choice of medium until I got to high school. I remember going to Mr. Butterworth's class, and he looked at one of my projects and he was like, "You need to go to AP Art," which is an advanced art class. And from there, I got introduced to painting. I enjoyed it, but I was still in my comfort zone of drawing. So there is a difference. Painting and drawing are two different things. I would say have the skill of drawing down first before you get into painting, because it goes hand in hand. But yeah, once I got introduced into painting, I started learning a little bit more about depth and dimension and layering. I was able to get into some regional competitions. I've had my artwork in the Capitol. I think that was during 8th grade. And so fast forward, after graduating, I went to Sam Houston State for Bachelor's of Fine Arts. That didn't work out, so I moved back to Houston. I got distracted with the tattoo industry. I dabbled in a couple of things before I got to my ultimate purpose. So I used to wash hair. I used to be a bowl washer for a hair salon, and then from there I didn't think I could land a job in the gallery area, but I ended up working for Forever 21 while still selling my paintings. And so 2015 getting into 2016, my following was growing on Instagram. So I was like on Instagram in 2012, 5,000 to 10K to 20K, and I remember like at 22K I thought I was somebody working at Forever 21, because people would stop by the store and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you're the girl that paints." And I'm like,
"Yeah, that's me."
It just got to this point where I was actually making more with my paintings than I was working my 9 to 5. So I took that leap of faith. March 30th, 2016, I was like, I'm hopping off this ledge. I'm gonna learn how to fly on my way down. Disclaimer, do not do this. Make sure that you have a cushion. Do not be hopping off of edges and ledges and mountaintops unless God has told you to, or you truly have a plan on the way down. But I didn't have a plan B. Artistry was my plan A. I just took that leap of faith with no savings, no guidance on what business management looked like. I had customer service. I enjoyed helping others. I enjoyed talking to others. So I think that kind of correlated into me building this business that I have now. There was a lot of trial and error. It was exhilarating, but it was also scary. I just remember I would sell pieces for like $30 a pop. I would sell graphic designs for like $20 on a piece of paper. When I was able to make a $500 piece sell, I was like, oh, there are people out here that love art that are willing to invest into it. So I think that became like my standard. I'm like, okay, my originals, these are my babies. I put my hard work into them. I'm gonna start selling them for what they are worth. I wasn't even doing prints then. So prints didn't come into the picture until like the end of 2017. I was more so on this whole thing like originals only, you only get a exclusive one-on-one. And my mom had to correct me on that. She had suggested how do people get the word of God? Like, there's just not one Bible. Like, there are multiple copies so that everybody can enjoy. So you want to make sure that you do that same thing with your artwork, not just have one original, but have copies for multiple people to enjoy and to resonate with. The lessons that I have learned along the way is to make sure that you have a solid strategy before you make that transition into full-time. Map out how you want your business to be operated, because again, you're not going to be painting all day, you know, especially as a startup business. You're definitely not going to be painting all day. Like, you're really going to have to put on your business hat and figure out how to turn your creativity and your passion into actual profit, how to scale your business, how to maintain it, and how to grow it. And certain things that may have worked for you before may not work now, but has helped me scale my business. Prints have been the number one for me. I've partnered with a print shop in my hometown and they are amazing. The quality is top tier. When I first started out, I definitely recommend Canvas Champ. I've worked with Fine Art America to, you know, get the print shipped out internationally. Canvas Champ is a good quality production company. It's just that they are based overseas, so their turnaround time is a bit longer. Easy Canvas Prints is a good one. As I've grown, thankfully, thank God, because I remember the nights that I would be endlessly writing down everybody's information that they would submit an order in, and it took me hours on end. I would spend my whole weekends submitting and fulfilling orders, and it was just tiresome. And so because of the influx that was going in, the sister distribution reached out and asked would I like to do a partnership with them, and I said for sure, yeah, get me a manager. And so that's how that unfolded. You want to make sure that you are offering prints. You want to make sure that you can turn your work into a collectible. Maybe you want to put your artwork on shower curtains or bags or a shirt. Even if they can't afford the original, you can still have them support with a more inexpensive product. Commissions, don't get me wrong, they are an amazing part of starting up your business because it builds your portfolio, it builds your clientele for long-term relationships, depending on if you enjoy it a lot, because there is a lot of people asking for portraits, which I like portraits, but not to the point of where it's pressuring me. I dread it when it becomes stifling to where I feel like I'm in this box and I can't create freely. But outside of that, when your client gives you free range, commissions can be a great experience, and it can be a lucrative stream of income if that is something that you enjoy doing. I have an example of a price chart that I can insert here that you can find on my Whip and Wine Instagram page. It's just a basis of how to price your artwork on different sizes. I definitely want to create a class on going in depth on how to do that, pricing each size and how to go about consulting, how to walk them through the process of your creating, how to collect the deposit, the contract agreement, and so forth. But yeah, commissions is a great start off. I've taken 3 commissions this year, and so far so good. It has been a great experience. In the past, it has burned me out because again, that's all they want is just portraits of your grandma. Make sure you don't miss the mole over there by her nose. Like, I just can't. So with hosting paint and sips, that used to be a big thing when I stayed in Houston. I used to host so many paint and sips. It was so fun, just allowing people to let their hair down, enjoy themselves. You know, you probably could sell the tickets for $25 to $35 depending on how extravagant it is. I know when I first started off my classes, I had to sell it for $50 so I can get the supplies first. Thank you to all those who poured into me then, who was able to help me get those supplies. But yeah, like, host paint and sips, launch your own event on Eventbrite. Eventbrite is the spot to be, okay? Eventbrite will get you right. It is a great way to get the community to come out and enjoy themselves. It helps you really create some long-term relationships with clients from there as well. Brand partnerships. Partnering with a brand is always a win, is always a great opportunity to really expand and stretch you and challenge you to figure out how do you work with other people's ideas? How can you really implement and structure your art style into what they're looking for their own brand and their own company. With my experience, it is a bit tasking, but it does help me grow as a business owner and as an artist. It helps me know how to conduct myself professionally. It helps me know how to learn how to work around negotiations and let them know, like, I know my worth. Don't be trying to play me. Don't be trying to come at me with that 500 while somebody else is asking for 3K and you would gladly give it to them. Include your time, the time frame that it requires. There's a lot with going back and forth with the rendering and the mock-ups and having to just communicate through email and third parties. Like, all that is time and energy, and you want to make sure that all that is included. Art giveaways are always great. If you are in the position to give away a piece, even if it's a piece that you have sitting around in your art studio, give it away. People love giveaways. People love to be a part of raffles. That will also help build your support system. That will help build your followers. If you do random giveaways here and there, it's a domino effect of tell a friend to tell a friend, and so you get more traction and more attention coming to you and your artwork by you just being generous and being able to give your art away as a gift. Mural projects. I did a couple of murals, but I did my first major mural in Houston on McGowan and Crawford Street for Alley Theater. Again, if you like to be stretched and challenged as an artist, make sure that you take on these big projects. Like, I love large scale because it just makes me feel that much more free. So like, the bigger the canvas, the bigger my heart just loves to go at it and create. I've done some research on artistjobs.com, but I'm sure artistjobs.com has some openings for like mural projects, or even in your local community. I'm sure there are some community-based mural agencies that get a group of artists together to work on one big mural project for the city. Y'all all are able to go hand in hand with making this one humongous, beautiful piece for your city to enjoy. Artist collaboration. During COVID, even though I was overseas and most of my fellow creatives were back home, we would actually do artist collab IG lives, and those were so fun because people were stuck in the house and we were able to bring some joy and some light to people's timelines by just doing artist collabs. And I don't know how that would work now, but you should collab with an artist. I've tried to reach out to some artists to collab with. I feel like artists are so to themselves and so in their shells that we need to come together more. Like, I feel like everybody's to themselves or for themselves, that there's not enough artist collabs going on. You know, if you match my fly, I match yours. I wouldn't mind collaborating with you. So artist collabs are always a good way of cross collabing with each other's supporters and getting more eyes on each other's work, hopefully opening up that door for new opportunities. Now, I have been on the local news, but that was just by word of mouth. I've been on the local news actually 3 times now. I think that's just because, you know, God places these blessings in my lap, because I really don't be knowing. The first time I was on the news, it was in Houston. I had someone reach out and ask, could I be a part of the Everyday Morning Show? And then thankfully, I have a brother in Christ that is at my current church that works for the news, and I was able to be on the news in South Carolina. So listen, if I was you, I would email your local news and say, hey, I have some real talent here and I would love to be a part of any opportunity that y'all have to squeeze me in. So squeeze me in that time slot. Exhibitions. The only exhibition that I've ever been a part of so far has been Houston African American Museum. It was such a great experience. It exposed me to a different room of audience. It exposed me to so many like well-known artists that are well respected in the city. Like I am not here to just be an internet artist. Some people aren't tapped into the internet. Those big heavy hitters, the ones that have the pocketbooks, the ones that love art, that live in silence, that, you know, are rich in silence, those are the ones that visit the art museums and that study and observe. Like, that's the target audience I want to be around and that I want to be accustomed to. So I'm still learning how to get my foot in the door with that. How I stumbled upon the opportunity to have my work into the HMAC Museum is because I actually walked into it. I walked into HMAC, I left my card and I said, hey, I'm an artist. I just moved to Houston. This was years ago. If you're looking for any emerging artists, here's my card. feel free to reach out. And shout out to Dominic Clay and John Guest. They are the ones that have helped me get my art into those rooms and helped me get my art into those exhibitions. So art shows. I remember my first art show back in 2015 with Raw, and that was the first show that I've ever displayed at, that I've ever been a part of, and it blew my mind to see so many people come together and be supportive of artists, visual artists, all type of creatives, dancers, musicians, jewelry designers, like you name it. They were all in one spot, and I think it just really inspired me to really take my art seriously and really give it a go. You want to make sure that you're joining in on as many art shows as you can in your local area. Eventbrite.com has been a great source for me to search what's going on, you know, within the city. You want to keep your ear to the streets on any upcoming events that is taking place. I've worked with InvestFest. I've worked with Boutique Fashion Week, which I'm the art department director of right now. I was once a participant with them when they were Creative Canvas back then. Volunteering is great. I love working with the youth. I love working with children. I've done face painting. I've done complimentary workshops for them. I've been to charter schools and have been a guest speaker on how to boost their confidence through creating and painting. So you want to make sure that you're volunteering in some way and giving back to the community. Illustrating. If you enjoy drawing or if you enjoy digital design, you want to take advantage of illustrating. People always need a logo. Listen, don't ask me for no logo because I ain't gonna do it. Unless you are like some big brand. That is not something that I enjoy doing, but I digress. For illustrations, take advantage of, you know, people that are looking for book illustrators. There's a lot of children's books being produced that people need. If that is something that you enjoy doing, if you like the more digital route, I have a couple of examples here. I thank God that, you know, He's helped me grow over the years and kind of tap into it all. I've done murals, I've done book illustrations, I've done graphic design, I've done it all, child. I've done it all. I'm actually currently working on a big store brand right now. I will release that at a later date, but I'm working on a digital design for their mural mock-up. And then I just want to give you an example. I've worked with Ivory Ella, which is a nonprofit organization, Help Save the Elephants. Let's see. I have partnered with BET. We're not gonna get into that because they never even released this. This was like 2 years ago. They said they were gonna release the project and never did. I recently finished a children's book with Dr. Kamisha Childs. I'll just show you one of the pages. This was a children's book illustration. She just launched it this year, and I did a book a couple years ago called Little Queen's Beauty Dreams. So yeah, so that falls under illustration. Classes. I launched classes back in 2022 and I pulled them down just this past year. If you scroll in my earlier videos, you'll be able to see some of the behind the scenes. If you are very knowledgeable in what you do and you want to teach somebody, start classes. You know, share your knowledge, share your value, because that will help somebody else, someone that is inspiring to be an artist that may not know where to start. Why not start with classes? Have a package price on what that looks like. If you feel like you are a master at what you do, then charge a master price. If you feel like, you know, you are a novice and you just want to help other beginners, don't be out there charging $1,000 for your classes and it's giving $59.99. Okay, you just want to know what your spectrum is. I've done podcasts. If someone reaches out to you and they want to do an interview with you, go for it, because that is a footprint of, you know, your story. That is a footprint to see how far you've came. I used to be a part of a lot of interviews. I kind of slowed down on interviews this year, but I want to get back into that because I catch myself withdrawing into my shell, which I'm trying to come out of now. Podcasts and interviews really do help you gain that confidence and that boldness to share your story, to share what you know, to, you know, share any tips that may help the next person. Please don't withhold that from yourself, because again, these things can help somebody and pull them into their own purpose. So vendoring kind of falls under showcases, but it doesn't necessarily have to be artist bound. If you want to sign up as a vendor somewhere, like for me, a vendor booth that I did with InvestFest. InvestFest is not necessarily art based, but art is still an asset. So I thought that was a great opportunity for me to be a part of. Back in 2021, I ended up vendoring with InvestFest, and I actually met an investor. Shout out to Aristotle. I met an investor then in person who said that he was following me back when he was still in the military. And from there, 2 years later, he actually invested into my Forbidden piece, which went for $10,800. And so because of that opportunity and placing myself in that room, even though it wasn't an instant gratification, I was able to get my fruit from that because of taking that chance 2 years beforehand. And also another 2 years later, within that same time frame of 2023, InvestFest partnered with Zillow, and I was able to partner with Zillow and get my artwork in the skybox. I say all these things because I want you to bet on yourself. I want you to trust your gut and believe that if this is something that you enjoy doing, if fear is getting in the way of you starting, then you need to speak back at fear and say, move out my way, because I am not allowing anything to stop my purpose. I'm not allowing anything to get in the way of my destiny. God has placed so many gifts in each of us that we get so bombarded with societal norms or what your mama told you to do or what your daddy said what's best for you, when clearly what is for you is for you. The vision and the glasses that God puts on your eyes is specifically for you. If you put those glasses on somebody else, they may not be able to see the vision clearly as you would see it. So you need to stick to what God told you to do when he told you to do it the first time he told you to do it, and make it happen and trust the process. Because of me sharing my art, all of these opportunities have came from me sharing my art with the world. I would have never imagined in a million years that the little girl that was shy, that didn't have a voice for herself, became a woman that was able to make 6 figures as a full-time artist. If you would have told my 5-year-old self this, she would have been like, oh my goodness. She would have been elated. She probably would have been screaming with her crayons, just throwing her crayons at the wall or something. I don't know. I'm so glad for the ups and downs, because there will be ups and downs. You have to make wise decisions no matter what, even if you're not a believer. Because listen, this is a believer channel, and I love me some Jesus. I love me some God. I was naively on the other side of the fence, and we seen how that went. So I'm gonna be on the safe side and be with the God side, the light side, okay? And he has showed me a lot of things, and he has told me to make some choices that didn't make sense, but because stepping out on faith, it has got me here to where I am. And let's not get it twisted. Let's not forget how your girl got hacked back in I got hacked back in 2017. I was like at 106K on Instagram. Mind you, Instagram was my main source of income. Like, I was promoting heavily on Instagram, and that's where I was getting most of my sales coming in from. I got scammed from one of these emails that portrayed as an Instagram email and was saying that, hey, you know, you finally got verified. Yeah. If you know, then you know. I guess I was so desperate to get verified because everybody and their mama was trying to portray me on Instagram. When I tell you, I cried my eyes out. I had to start from ground zero. And then somebody had the nerve in the process for trying to get the Instagram handle back. I had to disown that handle so that it can be available to get it back. And so somebody else decided to make a fake page of the Brianna James while trying to recover the last page of the original page. It was just too much going on. I had to build my support system back up. Thankfully, on Instagram, it's at 118K, but it's just been at its cap for 2-3 years now. Instagram, the algorithm I don't got time to be dancing, shucking and jiving for nobody. Either you enjoy the art and you watch me paint the process. I have 118K on Instagram, 20K plus on Facebook, 20K on TikTok, and I'm here trying to build my support and community on YouTube, which is newfound. I feel like YouTube is just a different kind of platform. Y'all are a bit more authentic and loving. So I had to learn even building in that process, like certain strategies that worked with gaining organic reach, it does not work now. Like certain things that you could do back then, if you apply that to today's algorithm, today's way of marketing, it just does not work. And so let's talk about my peak year and my worst year. So my peak year would have to be, of course, when I said introducing prints around 2017 is really where business really took off. So with just originals, I was making around 30K a year. Once prints got introduced, that's when it skyrocketed. So 2017, I know it started to scale up. 2018 was a good year. I was like roughly in 80K, 90K. 2019 was my prime, okay? I don't know what I was on. I don't know if it's because I was getting married. I was traveling overseas a lot. I was just inspired. But right here, this Shopify, that's just for prints alone. So with my originals included, I think I made roughly around 150K. I hit that 6-figure threshold and you couldn't tell me nothing. I was skating, okay? I was feeling good, looking good, living. I just didn't handle money correctly. Like, I just had the mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna spend it because I know I'm gonna make it back. Oh, I'm about to buy this because I know I'm about to make a sale in like 20 minutes. Especially at the age of 25, like nobody introduced CPA, savings, checkings, investing, stocks. Nobody introduced that to me then. So I was making all this money, but I had nothing to show for it. And mind you, gross versus net is a difference. Your gross income does not reflect your net income. So say, though I made 150K, production cost was roughly 40% of that. I would spend like 50K on producing my prints and shipping and supplies. All those things add up. So you want to take that into consideration if you are trying to make 6 figures as your net income. Then you need to figure out a strategy that is going to double that. And then just even your way of living, you know, you want to make sure that you're not living above your means, because I was doing all these things and again, not having a pillow or not having something to fall back on. In Houston, I felt like my art was thriving. I enjoyed Houston. Houston doesn't have this crabs in the bucket mentality. Like, it just has an entrepreneurial spirit about it. And then once I got married and moved overseas, I got exposed to just the greats. I got exposed to Da Vinci and Salvador Dali and just all these amazing forefathers of artists that really poured into my creative love tank. And I just think I was thriving then. Like I was thriving mentally to be able to create these things that I was being able to experience in real life, and that reflected in my artwork. And so once we moved here back stateside into a very rural area that doesn't have as many opportunities, that doesn't have as much support, or honestly that's not as inspirational, my art just started to decline. It went from 6 figures to 77 to 33, and then my worst year was last year. I only made like $19,000 in print sales. And when I tell you it was a reality check, it was like, what am I doing wrong? In my eyes, I was like, what am I doing wrong? But also you have to keep in mind with the economy too. So keep up with how the economy's going. Clearly there's inflation going on. Groceries is high. Ain't nobody thinking about spending no money on no artwork, okay? They trying to make sure that they can keep their lights on. I think I was just getting frustrated with the fact that my business has went down the drain, and I really was like reconsidering my whole life. Should I go back to work? And mind you, I haven't been to work in like 8 years. So I was like, I don't even want to deal with that. Like in my mind, I'm so accustomed to making like $400 potentially within an hour of posting, rather than doing that for 2 weeks for a part-time job that isn't guaranteed of your hours. Even these past years of being here, I had to reflect on what needs to be done differently, what do I need to eliminate, and what do I need to tackle so that I can rescale my business back to a profitable, sustainable way of living. I don't want to treat my work as knickknacks. They just hold such a story to them that I don't want to devalue them and degrade them down to little of nothing. The person that may not can afford this $10,000 piece can still afford the $55 print that looks just like the original. Like, I want to make sure the spectrum is wide enough, and that's what you want to create for your audience. Like, have those high ticketed prices or those high ticketed products, but also make it to where the average person can also enjoy without taking away the value of the piece itself. One, they have to get to know who you are as a person. I don't think anybody's going to invest into you unless you share your story, unless you share your why, or share the meaning behind your artwork. Like, they're not going to want to buy something that they don't know the significance behind. Okay, lastly, all I can suggest to you is just keep creating and keep sharing your artwork, because you never know who's watching. You never know who may be on the sidelines, even if they can't afford it, even if they can't invest into your art right now. They might be saving up for that one piece that they've been eyeing. They may be having you in the back of their mind when they get that new home and they want your piece in the center of their living room. They may have your name on their tongues when they walk into conference rooms and consider your artwork to be a part of their next brand. You never know. I just say keep creating and be consistent and never stop. And do not let these hurdles, these obstacles get in your way, because they will come. But that is all a part of the lessons. That is all a part of the growing process and the stretching into making you a better artist, a better business owner. I just don't want you holding back because of your own fears or your own doubts or your own what ifs. Don't let that get in your way. I hope that this is encouraging. I hope that this inspires you to pick up a paintbrush, to pick up a piano. I don't know. You might be a musician here just listening. Whatever it does, if it causes you to go sing somewhere, just go do it, okay? Don't let nobody get in your way. Don't let your own negative thinking get in your way. Don't let the enemy get in your way. Just do what you are called to do and go and inspire others, because it is the gift that keeps on giving, and your artwork is worth giving, okay? All right, so I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all next time.